Deconverted Man here, Justin Derby from TOR, T-T-O-R, Truth, the Objective Reality. Anyways, he's made this video about deplatforming that is being advocated for in certain newspapers and other places of creationists. Now, I'm against deplatforming. Period. Deplatforming should not be a thing, period. I don't care what the topic is, I don't care who it is that is debating, or what person or group. It's all up for debate. And to say, well, but we can't debate X, Y, and Z because of whatever, well, it's an appeal to consequence. And, what are you supposed to do? Just let people believe what they believe without being challenged? But then they'll feel like they're legitimized, if you debate them. Maybe, but isn't that better than not debating them? Because then they'll just say, see, they won't debate us because they know they couldn't win. So that's silly. I don't think that that's the right way to go, and we need to say no to that, and, the whole deplatforming thing is a no-go for me. I totally disagree with it. There is no idea out there that could not be debated in a public setting, be it on YouTube or some other, internet thing, or before an audience live, or a combination thereof. Every idea must be scrutinized. Every idea must be debated, and no group or person should be deplatformed just because they, whatever the thing is, whatever the reason is. I will debate them. It doesn't matter. I just think it's silly and ridiculous to do this whole deplatforming thing. It's not a science. I mean, young Earth, creationism, ID, all these things are not science. But they can be debated, and they can be shown to not be science. And I think there's people that have already done it, and people that will continue to do it. King Crocoduck debated the age of the universe with good old Hovind. Hovind completely lost because he doesn't understand the science. Aaron Ra debated somebody on evolution, and then at least a couple different people on evolution, and they lost because they didn't. Well, the one guy lost because he hadn't bothered watching Aaron Ra's videos at all, and so he didn't know the sort of things that Aaron already has pre-ready and packaged, and said, "Look, that's in this video. That's in this video. I've already covered that." The other one, he completely annihilated the guy because the guy didn't understand science. So, these objections to biological evolution must be done by somebody that really understands the science. And the problem is that the creationists and ID proponents have to ignore science in order to pretend their dogma is real, and it's not, but they have to pretend it is. But yeah, I'll debate you. I'll give you a platform. It's not much, but I'll do it. I think the Non-Sequitur show, if you were to contact them, they would be happy to have you debate anybody on there. Maybe you could even get Aaron Ra and King Crocoduck, for all I know, to debate you there, Justin. You just have to ask them, I could get a hold of Steve, but you could as well. Just set it up. It's not going to be that hard. Love to be there and watch the logical fallacy fly and just be like, yep, you're gonna lose. I know you would lose the debate on a scientific foundation, on a logical one as well, but you would still be able to debate those people, and they'd welcome it, they'd love it, because that's what they do, and they're pretty civil, But yeah, just go for it and do that. All right. Having said all that, when it comes to, let's say, ID or creationism being taught in schools, that's not going to happen. We're going to keep fighting that legal fight, and your guys are going to still lose that. But again, there's a debate that happens in court, because you guys have decided to go the legal route rather than, proving that it's actual science and getting it into classrooms that way. Because, well, you can't prove that it's actual science because it's not. But you believe that you could. So you're not, it doesn't seem to be that the creationists are willing to go the hard route of proving that it's real science and getting it into the classrooms that way. Rather, they want to circumnavigate the system and just go the legal route and make it in there by force. But that would be akin to, if the flat earthers were as well organized as you guys are, they could try the same thing and try to get the flat earth taught in schools. And I don't want that, and I don't think you want that either. But when it comes to your own dogma, you think, well, we're right and we deserve to have it taught in schools. No, you don't, unless you can show it to be real science, and that has to meet certain requirements that the dogma and doctrine simply can't provide. Because as much as you want to believe it's science, it isn't science. But I'm still willing to debate that, and lawyers obviously will debate for you and for your side if you hire them, and and all this, and that those are all important debates. And why should we deplatform? It's silly and ridiculous. We shouldn't do that. So I say no to any paper or article or anybody or group that's saying that we should deplatform anybody. No to them, and shame on them for suggesting that, because it's crazy and nonsense. I'll debate. Like I said, I'll debate you. But the science I don't know that much about. I'll just be upfront with that. I'm not well versed on it. I very basic understanding. I can debate the logic of it, or in this case, I think I would ask questions. I would do it more like a inquiry dialogue, where I would just ask you questions about why you think it's true. Why do you think it is that the majority of scientists agree that it's true? Are they all just wrong, or is there some conspiracy? Do you have any evidence that there's a conspiracy, or whatever? I'd simply ask you critical questions, because I wouldn't have anything on my side to present other than what science is able to present. Be like, look, the scientists say here it is, here's the evidence that they use, just look at that and try to understand that. And maybe I could possibly debate on a theological level at some level, but not too interested in doing that per se. The only thing I would say about that is that I think you're creating a stumbling block for people to be able to come to Christ, which should be the goal of Christianity, right? I would say that young Earth creationism, as well as like 10,000, 6,000 years old, whatever, anything that's not 4.54 billion years old, would be incorrect. Is it billion or million? I always get that screwed up. Let's see. Billion. I was right. Okay. I'll leave that blooper in. Look. And the point is, if you disagree with science, that's a problem. That's a problem that is part of your dogma and doctrine. It is tied into it, that you insist that your God has laid out this certain way of viewing the Bible, that you guys have somehow got it right and everybody else has gotten it wrong. Maybe you guys got it wrong. And the only thing you'd have to change is your dogma and doctrine. You could still believe in God. You could still believe in Jesus. It's just you'd have to accept that to be true, to do so. Because either that's true or your God exists. So, well, that is true, so your God does not exist. And that's where you've placed everybody by subscribing to the dogma. Is you've created this stumbling block? Wouldn't it be better just to say, look, we agree with science. We don't care. And, but God's still real and whatever. Because there's apologetics for that. And as far as, the age of the earth, you can be like, yeah, sure, it's 4.54 billion years old, and the universe is 13 billion years old, biological evolution happened, yeah. And they'd be like, well, how do you understand, Genesis? There's lots of ways to do that. Biologos has ways to do that. And other things are possible as potential theological and or apologetic ways to defend the ideas of God without requiring the interpretation that must be given to read Genesis the way that you guys are reading it, because you have to interpret yom, which is the original word, to mean day rather than a period of time. You have to then add up the ages of different people that are mentioned in together, but these people live 400, 500 years old that some of these people lived. Nobody lives that long. That's crazy. But you have to believe that. You have to believe they lived that long, and then you have to add up all those ages. Well, what if they left out somebody, either intentionally or accidentally? Then your calculation's off, and you made it so important to think that it's true that, when somebody says, look, I know the science, I understand, this is what reality is, and you guys are like saying, no, you have to deny that in order to believe in God. Well, that's a stumbling block, and then fewer people are going to come to God because of that. And so I view that as the theological problem that you guys would ignore, I suppose, and make apologetics for, because you're more interested in worshiping the dogma and doctrine than you are your actual God. Because if there is a God, it conforms with reality, which means this is the age of the earth. That 4.543 billion years old. I usually just say 4.54. That's the age of the earth, if there's a God. If you want to believe in a different God, then that God doesn't exist. It can't exist, because a real God would comport to reality, not the other way around. Unless God's lying to us and just makes it seem like the earth is that old, which in that case, then we can't trust that God, and so, that God's a liar or a trickster. And then you don't know that you're saved then, because God could be lying about that or tricking you. Maybe that's the sort of God that really is true, that God's just a lying trickster, and so you've interpreted the Bible right, but that makes God a liar. Or maybe you've interpreted the Bible wrong, which makes you guys incorrect, and your dogma and doctrine is incorrect. But there could still be a God. It's just you got it completely wrong. So you're not worshiping God. You're worshiping the Bible or the doctrine or the dogma. So that's biblical idolatry or dogma doctrinology. And so then when you die, God will say, "Depart from me, I knew you not," because you didn't serve the real God, the true God. You served the false idol that you've created. So that's how I could debate you on that. To some extent, of course, I would sharpen that better, but at any rate, look. So I'm with you on one half, on the, don't deplatform people. I'm with you there, and I think that, myself and others would be glad to debate you about this stuff, and each of us would do it in a different way, but we'd all be able to do it to some extent. So you definitely have a platform, at least on YouTube. So that's something. But on the scientific grounds and on the as far as getting into schools, you're not going to succeed with that. It's not going to happen. We're not going to let it happen. But we'll fight that fight in the courts, and there too we have a reason to debate this. So, But yeah, there you go. So bring it on, I guess.